Okay, hi, we have Tim Burr with us today, and he is a nonprofit starter in Colorado in our neck of the woods. He's also an extreme athlete here in Colorado. So, we have some questions for you, Tim. And
Nice to be
our
here.
first one is I know, thank you. We would love for you to describe the day you got injured. What the heck happened?
Yeah, for sure. So that's 2014, backcountry skiing in November. I went up, it was like a bluebird day, lining up to be pretty perfect to do a couple laps before work in the afternoon. And me and a buddy were out. We hiked a little pasture off of Kebler Pass outside of Crested Butte and went like I took a couple turns and hopped off this little thing. It was not even anything of note, but when I came down, I was just like didn't have the landing gear down, uh, and maybe some odd early season snow. Pitched forward and like did a really typical ski head over heels crash, and something went weird. Don't know what, and I broke my neck at the C5 vertebrae and was like immediately paralyzed. Um, so face down in the snow and like really had no idea what was going on. Like I was like thinking that I was like buried in an avalanche because I couldn't get up, but I was like not. I knew like we had checked the conditions beforehand, and there was only like 15 inches of snow, and it was like no base. Like there was no way that it was going to slide. But uh, there was like no other explanation at the time, so I started like doing avalanche etiquette, like spreading snow away from my face and then like trying to like slow my breathing. And then my buddy like ran up and kind of like flipped me over and was like what's going on, and then that's when it was pretty obvious that something was wrong. So we took a second, checked out the situation, tried to figure out if we were going to be able to get me out on our own, and that was not going to happen. So my friend Peter built me a little snow chair to sit in while we were right there and just basked in the sun while we waited for the emergency evac to show up, and then shipped off to ICU. Had to go through the whole um, uh, intensive care situation, like trying to deal with what's what's it called when you get the infection in your lungs? I'm forgetting that word now.
Yeah.
Pneumonia. Yeah. So I had some pretty serious pneumonia right away because I aspirated on the snow and then was hypothermic from waiting around, and then that's like kind of a typical thing I think that happens with cervical injuries. So then got through all that and headed off to Craig Hospital for the inpatient rehab after a week or two there.
Wow. Oh my God. It's so crazy. You don't know what happened and your neck just broke and then you guys were moving you around, which you're not supposed to do. You didn't feel it at all. Like that you're
Yeah, I mean, it started to seem like it was a spinal injury pretty quickly after Peter, like when I say flipped me over, he like kind of just uncovered my face, and he wasn't like aggressively turning me around or anything. But after like revisiting the situation and like doing some more training that he's done and that I've done and some of our other friends have done, it actually ended up being a pretty perfect execution of emergency care. Like surprisingly, like we didn't really make any mistakes, even though our training was pretty minimal. Everybody has like a little bit of training if you're spending time in the wilderness, but we got lucky and didn't make any really big mistakes. But yeah, it did pretty quickly become obvious that it was a spinal cord injury just because like when you try and stand up and it doesn't work, that seems everybody kind of knows what that means, but it's hard to know what to do with that, especially if you've never like we had no prior experience or training in that field, so we were kind of just feeling it out as we went.
could you breathe very well?
I don't remember it really being an issue. It's weird like the vagueness of the situation at the time, just like it was obvious that things weren't working, but we weren't really testing anything. Like
Yeah.
after I like came to a stop and was like sitting there, trying to stay calm, it was like we weren't like, whoa, see if you can wiggle your toes, see if you can do this, do that. It's like
Yeah.
If you can't move your legs and you can't stand up, like we're just going to assume the worst at this point and call in a heli.
And how old were you?
19.
19. That's amazing that you had that much knowledge. So then you were flown off to Craig, or where'd you go?
I went straight to Grand Junction, actually. St. Mary's Hospital down there has the ICU, and Craig won't take you until you're like stable and ready to like start doing more advanced rehab. So once I got to St. Mary's, when they were going to transfer me out of the ICU, I was like going through the application process with Craig Hospital trying to get shipped there. And I ended up getting through, but yeah, I want to say it was like 2 weeks in ICU or maybe a little less than that. I guess I got hurt on November 18th and I got out of Craig on Valentine's Day, like of 2015. So it was a couple month process to get through it all.
And so it's been how many years now?
6.
6 years.
Yep.
So what were some of the biggest setbacks in your recovery? Did you have things go on where you were just like, seriously, this is pedaling backwards, or what was the most frustrating for you?
Yeah, there was definitely a couple situations that started to feel like, how could, how could this get any worse? And